Hi, Girl Security. My name is Lindsay Gorman. I'm the Emerging Technology Fellow at the Alliance for Securing Democracy, a think tank in Washington, D.C. focused on national security. I study how authoritarian regimes use novel technologies like artificial intelligence and surveillance technologies to undermine democracies, and what democracies can do to fix that. In a previous life, I was a physicist and computer programmer, and so I was often the only woman in the room, which was usually some sort of lab. Now that I'm working in national security policy, I see how vital it is to flip that script. Today, I'm here to talk to you about a new technology that can impact how we perceive political content online and even what we believe in the real world. This technology can create completely computer-generated images, articles, or videos that are funny, that are disturbing, that are misleading, or that are harmless. I'm talking about deepfakes. Deepfakes are usually videos, but could also refer to other types of media that have been constructed or manipulated using an artificial intelligence technique called deep learning to make a person appear to say or do something that they never actually said or did. For example, a fake video of President Obama giving a speech through the words of a comedian, or even more humorously, a face meld of two celebrities, even of different genders. These deepfakes are becoming easier and easier to create. Whereas a year ago, computer scientists and researchers at universities or companies had to spend time developing and training models to produce deepfakes, now they're becoming increasingly plug and play. While there are many benign uses of deepfake technology in movies, entertainment, and even medicine, there are reasons for concern in democracies as well. In the national security arena, nefarious actors could create and spread deepfakes to make it look like government officials or military personnel said or did things they never did. For example, they could create a fake video of the president announcing a nuclear weapons launch, prompting a potentially catastrophic response if the message were taken seriously. Deepfakes also take fake news to a new level. They can erode the trust necessary for a democracy to function by injecting misleading content into the information environment and by making the public question the very nature of truth itself. For authoritarian regimes that thrive on manipulating the truth, that's no problem. But democracies need to know the facts to inform political discourse and choices of elected officials. During an election cycle, they could also be used to spread disinformation. Deepfakes can also be used to create videos that show people, especially women, doing sexual acts that they did not actually do. Creators swap the face of actors in pornographic videos with other people's faces, usually other actresses or even journalists and female politicians, which means people who never consented to be in these videos now appear in them. In fact, 96% of all deepfakes out there are used for non-consensual pornography. Women like Emma Watson, Ellie Fanning, and Taylor Swift have fallen victim to these kinds of deepfakes, which is a violation of their privacy and their consent. Anyone can create a deepfake, and more people are gaining access to the technology. Especially on first glance, it can be very hard to tell if something is a deepfake. Earlier this year, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube all made some sort of effort to address manipulated media content like deepfakes on their platforms. In general, there are three options for dealing with deepfakes: remove them, label them as manipulated, or do nothing and leave them up. Facebook's new policy focuses on a narrow technical type of manipulation. It looks solely at videos and will remove any AI-edited or synthesized videos that would likely mislead someone into thinking that the subject of the video said words they did not say. It fails to cover cheap fakes that mislead with simple video editing not using artificial intelligence and have been used to target US politicians. The policy also fails to cover deepfakes that change actions instead of words. This leaves a lot of room open for those who want to mislead people to wreak havoc. Twitter's policy takes a wider look at videos, audio, and images. Twitter looks at whether the manipulated media is likely to cause serious harm. Twitter's policy also outlines an option to label manipulated media, which would warn users who interact with it or add clarifications to the content. If there's deceptively altered content that's also shared in a deceptive context and is likely to cause harm, Twitter will likely remove the video entirely. On YouTube, the policy is to remove content that's been manipulated in a way that misleads users and may pose a serious risk of egregious harm. But it's unclear what constitutes manipulated media and what counts as egregious harm. YouTube also prioritizes election-related threats. All of the platforms would benefit from greater transparency and accountability and a more clear and consistent enforcement of their own policies, so we know what's allowed and what isn't. While there's a lot that the platforms can do, there's also an onus on all of us with deepfakes, as with other forms of misinformation or disinformation, to be mindful of the content that we share and to know where it's coming from and whether it has been manipulated, including possibly with artificial intelligence, before we send it on. There are positives and negatives to all new technologies, and it often comes down to how we use them. For the sake of our democracy, in the national security community, we need to be sure that we're encouraging responsible uses of tech like deepfakes.